Hey guys, so in this video we are going to add the timer to our game. Let me show you how it's gonna look. So you can see here at the bottom we have this bar that basically is showing us the remaining time. On each level the player has 60 seconds to take the frog from the bottom to one of the houses, and if the timer runs out, the player loses one life. But if the player can reach one of the houses while still having time, the remaining time, each second, counts, gives us an additional 10 points of score. So let's see how to implement this. Let's go to the game manager, which is where we are dealing with all the game logic. And the first thing that we are going to do is to create a variable for the time. So you can see here, time. I created a new attribute of type number. The default value doesn't matter because we are going to set the value of this attribute when we spawn the player. And basically when we spawn the player, you can see here what I've added. We set the time to 60. That's the first thing. So that's the total amount of time the player has to complete the level. And then we start a block that runs every second. And inside this block, when it's running every second, we are decrementing the time variable by 1. And then what we need to do is, if the time reaches the value of 0, we kill the player and cancel this block. Don't forget to cancel this block, because otherwise, if you don't cancel this block, every time you are creating players, you will be creating new and new blocks of this, like this, and the time will start to decrement a lot faster. So you need to cancel the block. And we are canceling this block when the time reaches 0 or when the player is dead. I mean, when the player is killed by hitting a car or drowning or something like that. We are also canceling the block. And so this is the time management that we need to do. And also when the frog wins, what we are also doing, we are incrementing the score by the time plus times 10. So each second, the time is going to be updated. So it's going to start at 60 and it's going to be decreasing during the game. So when the player wins, when the frog wins, the value that we have on the time attribute is going to be the remaining seconds, and we multiply that by 10 and we increment the score with that value. So this is the time management. And now let's see how to draw this time on the screen. So basically are these four blocks. And first, let me show you here. So you can see here we have this word time here on the bottom right corner of the screen, and we have the bar. So the first thing I did was writing this time here. And so the first thing, since we have a new color, I created a new font with a yellow color. And so you can see here, set current font to retro gaming yellow. And then I draw the text time at this position. And now I have to use, for this, I had to use some blocks to give me the exact size of and height of the of what I'm drawing. And that's because I want to draw this. I don't know, I mean, I want to draw this on the bottom right corner of the screen, but I don't know in advance what is the size of this block, because it will depend on the font, on the size of the font, on the text that I will write. So we don't know exactly how to get this point here. This point will depend on the size of the entire label that we are creating, which in turn depends on the text and depends on the font. So here on the drawing section, we have some blocks that help us get these dynamic values. So you can see that what I'm doing is that the X position of the text is equal to the width of the screen, 448, minus the width for the label time using the current font. And this get width for time using current font will give me the size of the drawing that I'm doing to write that text using that font. And I'm doing exactly the same for the Y position. So height of the screen minus get height using current font T. Here we don't have the text, and that's, I'm assuming, because the text only grow like this, don't grow in the vertical axis. unless you could have multiple lines, but maybe it doesn't don't accept multiple lines. So that's why here on the font height we don't have the option to write the text, only on the width. And so here I'm drawing the text time in the correct place, and it's really aligned with the bottom right corner, so I don't need to add any offset. And then I set the fill color to green, and the fill color to green because we are drawing this rectangle right here. And we have a new block to draw this one, which is rectangles, and we have a draw block, and you can see draw or fill. So draw, from what I understood, draw is it's going to draw a rectangle, but only the outline, the stroke. And when you want a filled rectangle, you need to choose the option fill. And this accepts also the X position and the Y, and the width and the height. And basically what I'm doing here, let me deconstruct this. So these two values are static. So I know that I want my time bar to have a height of 16, and if it has a height of 16, it's going to start the position on the Y position. The position on the Y axis is going to be 512 minus 16, which is 496. So that's exactly what we have here. This is 16, and the position is screen height minus 16. So we have the Y position. Now the X position is the one that is going to change, because as the time is running out, we want this bar to decrease. And now the bar doesn't actually decrease in size. I mean, doesn't only decrease in size. That doesn't solve our problem, because if we only change the width of the bar, so if we have the bar drawn and we only change the width, because that would make sense, because we are decreasing actually the width of the bar, not the position. But if we do that, since the top left corner is the origin of our bar, of our drawing, would be something like this. And that's not what we want. What we want is the bar to decrease from the left to the right. So we don't only need to change the width, but also the starting position on the x-axis. And the way to do it, let's see it first for the width. The width is basically a proportion of the max size. And the max size, I got it from here, is 234. At least I got from the... Actually, a little bit... Oh no, it's not a little bit more, because I moved it to the right. But I got it from the screenshot, which is approximately... which is approximately 234, this is the max size. And basically what I'm doing is I'm getting a proportion of the remaining time of the full time. So if it was, when we have the full time, the bar will have the max value. When we are decreasing the time, it's going to have a proportion of the max value. And this is how we calculate that proportion. So the remaining time divided by the max time that we had times the max width. And this gives us the correct size for our bar. And we can use it here. And then we are going to use this calculation again here. And I don't like repeating this calculation because we shouldn't do this, because if I need to change something here, I need also to change it here, otherwise it won't work. But the other way to solve this would be to create an attribute and set this value to the attribute and then use the attribute. And I don't know, I also don't like that solution. So it's a really simple calculation, and they are both together, so I can see that there is not a problem. If I need to change something, I'll change on both of them. And the X position of the bar is going to be 448. So we're going to start here, minus the width of this text, and minus the width of the bar. And since we are updating the width of the bar according to the remaining time, the X position is going to be moving to the left. So we are decreasing the size and also moving the starting position. And this is what I have here. So 448 minus the width of the label, the same that I used here, minus the size of the bar updated according to the remaining time. And that's what I'm using here on the X position. And I'm using this here. And so this is it for drawing the bar. And what else? Position, cancel, create variable time. Yeah, I think this is it. I mean, I don't remember changing anything else. So we increment the score here. We spawn the player, we set the time, we are decreasing the time on every second, we are canceling this loop here. Incrementing the score, we don't need to worry about it. Yeah, so when the timer runs out, we kill the player. Okay, yeah, this is it about the timer. So let me just test. And we'll see if it's still working. I always like to confirm this because I make a mistake like dragging stuff that I shouldn't be doing. So the timer is working. I can move around. If I killed, yeah, it goes back to the beginning and it starts again from the start. Oh yeah, so this is it about the timer. So on the next video, I'm gonna deal with the player lives. So getting the max amount of lives the player has and decreasing the lives when the player is killing the frogs. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.